Need is Oxford dictionary to get self-realized. This is the modern way of Nyaya. So now, there are 16 padarthas. They are numbered in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, up to 16. And I just mentioned the meaning, since it is the meaning of the word which is so important. So I will mention the meaning of these words and leave it at that stage. So pramana means proof, or how to understand knowledge. And prameya, here, prameya means the object of knowledge. One is the scale and another is the line that you are measuring with. The line is prameya and the scale or ruler is pramana. So then you have samsaya. When you do something like that, then you develop some doubt. Samsaya means doubt. Then you have prayojana. What is the use? That is prayojana. Prayojana means benefit, use. And then drishtanta, I say, yes, there is some use. And then you will say, well, how do I believe? How do I believe if I jump from the top of the tree that I will break my leg? How will I believe? Oh, you just see that boy who just went on the tree and jumped, his leg is broken. This is known as drishtanta. Drishta means something you see, anta means which is finished. You see something which is finished and you can understand. It will happen to you also. Drishtanta. That's known as instance. And Siddhanta, alright, now I know. Oh, that's what happens. If you read too many books, then you bloop. Oh, great. So that is Siddhanta. Now you have come to a conclusion. I shouldn't read too many books, otherwise I will bloop. This is Siddhanta. And then, this is one line. It went up till there. So, you see Siddhanta. Then we come here, the next point, which is known as avayava. Avayava means the limbs. This is known as avayava of my body. Hand is avayava of my body. Or nose is an avayava of my face. Avayava means some limb, some particular part. So in discussing the Siddhanta, one has certain sections in it, certain limbs. What are they? You propose something. What is that? You go to hell. This is a proposition. And reason. Why? Because you are not chanting Hare Krishna. This is reason. This is second limb. Alright, then example. Example, everybody who did not chant Hare Krishna, they went to hell. This is example. And then prove an example. Prove an example, look right in front of you. He is going to hell, on the way. Prove an example. And then you have conclusion. Conclusion is what? Look, this is called hell, that's called heaven, and this is spiritual world. I am chanting, I am going, and this is conclusion. It's too late, if you don't catch my dhoti, you won't reach. So this is called conclusion. These 5 limbs are there in avayava. This one here. And then you come to tarka. These subdivisions we will go through again. Then you have tarka. Tarka means reasoning or arguing. Arguing in the sense that just to find out what's going on. Not just you are against it, but you want to reason and find out, yes, this is like this, this is like that, it's like this, so it's like this. Oh, it's like that, it's like that, it's like that, so that's like that. This is called reasoning. Human being is supposed to have reasoning. Manushya means manishina, one who can reason is known as human being. So then you have nirnaya, and by reasoning, you come to a determination. That is known as nirnaya. Point 9, padartha 9. Then you have vada. In South India, if you travel, they may give you vada. That is a different thing. Don't get confused. That is vada. This is vada. Vada means argument. You may wonder, what is the difference between that one and this one? You just said reasoning, argument, and now you are making another argument. Well, if you are a nyayi, you will keep on arguing. So there are different types of arguments. So this is one kind of argument, there was another kind of argument. Vada and tarka. Vada is when you want to defeat someone, you argue. And that argument is known as vada. When you want to establish something, you argue, that is known as tarka. These are two different kinds of reasoning. Then you have jalpa. We have heard this word, prajalpa. That we know. Pra means complete. Dharma projita atra kaidavo nirmatsaranam sadam praujita. Srimad Bhagavat Puran, proper translate. Pra means complete. Projita. Praujita means completely giving up nonsense philosophies. That's what he told us to do. I don't know why we are doing it anyway. Ask the festival committee. So Dharma Prajita. Pra means complete. And Prajalpa means complete gossip. If somebody is talking useless thing, we say Prajalpa. So Jalpa means, now you know what Jalpa means. One is complete gossip, this is just gossip. Jalpa means gossip. And then you have Vitanda. Vitanda means, if you say day, I say night. You say night, I say day. And if you say no, it's not day, not night, I say no, it's not night, not day. This is called Vitanda. Anything you say, I say against it. That's called Vitandavada. If somebody keeps arguing unnecessarily, then you say, why are you doing Vitandavada? All these are known as Vada. Jalpavada, Vitandavada. Then Hetva Bhasha. This Hetva Bhasha is mistake, fallacy. It is wrong. But you say it anyway. Just to get the other guy. You say it. Sometimes just for argument. Somebody says, well, by your Krishna conscious preaching, how many people got food? 15 million people. 15 million people. In London, in one press interview, the press reporter asked Prabhupada, how many followers? Prabhupada said, full time? And they said, yes, 4,000. So this is called Hetva Bhasha. He hardly had 6 people with him, including himself. 4,000, full time. Yes. And he was shaking his head like this. Anybody will believe. Even if you drink and look at them, they won't look 4,000. There are only 6 people there. So this is Hetva Bhasha. Sometime, because it's a stupid question he's asking anyway. Swamiji just arrived and he's asking how many followers full time. What do you mean? So sometime you give a bluff. In clean language, it's called bluff. Hetva Bhasha. Abhasha means, Abhash, like Nama Bhasha. You know Nama Bhasha. Somebody is chanting haram, 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 means damn, damn, damn. In Persian language. But when he say haram, actually he chants Ram's name because haram has Ram in it. This is Nama Bhasha. Actually it is a fallacy. Actually it's a bluff. He was not chanting Ram's name. He was simply chanting damn, damn, damn. But even though he was telling damn, damn, he goes to spiritual world. Why? Because he chanted Ram's name in it. It's known as Nama Bhasha. So Hetva Bhasha. Hetu means cause or Karan. Hetu. Jagata Karana Hetu. Hetu means Karan. So Hetu Abhasha means for establishing some Karan, some cause, you bluff. You make an Abhash. If somebody asks me, all the Gurukul boys are pure devotees? Yes, they are Paramahamsas. How do you know? Well, how can you prove they are not? This is called Nyaya. Don't ask me these questions. I am well trained in this Nyaya book. Even though you will be speaking truth, I may be bluffing, I will defeat you. That's called Nyaya. And then you have Chala. Chala, here. Chala means perversion. You speak something which is perverted from the truth. And that way also, just like somebody asked Prabhupada, why did you initiate women in America? He said, I didn't initiate women. Then they said, no, but all these Matajis are there. Prabhupada said, no, you had been to America. He said, no. Prabhupada said, you don't know what you are talking about. So then he said, in America there are no women. They are all animals. And then he said, but by the association of a pure devotee, some Matajis are leaving because they didn't like this comment. Anyway, hear the whole thing. Srila Prabhupada said that by the association of few devotees, even Naradhama can become Narottama. So even animals will become Bhagavatas. So then he looked at that man, he said, what is your problem? So this is known as Chala. And people who use Chala, they are known as Chalu in Bengali language. Alright, so then you have Jati. Jati means futility. Jati means when you are arguing with someone to defeat him, you just make him look like a useless idiot. That is like this lady who came to Prabhupada and she said, Swamiji, why do you shave your head? Prabhupada looked at her like this. And she was wearing this miniskirt. So Prabhupada said, it is better to have cool head and warm legs. So this is known as Jati. And after that statement, there's nothing for her to say. She was finished. This is Jati, futility. In another time, somebody asked Prabhupada, what do you think of Sai Baba? He said, I don't think of it. So if you simply read these conversation books and hear the tapes of Prabhupada, you find all this. Prabhupada is a walking university of all systems of philosophy. There's nothing that he didn't know. And everything just came out in the fingertips, just like that. So then this man said, can you say why you are shaving your head? Prabhupada said, just to keep clean. So then he said, you mean to say the hippies are not clean? Prabhupada said, you know. With a very sarcastic smile on his face. You know. Why you ask me? So this way, Srila Prabhupada used all these techniques very nicely. But he never taught that this is a process for self-realization. That's the problem. Because he didn't spend time looking at his feet. He was chanting Hare Krishna. He was looking at somebody else's feet. This looking at the feet is very nice. Look at the lotus feet of your spiritual master. Then you won't waste time in Jalpa and Prajalpa. Anyway, the final one, not the least, is Nigraha Stan. Nigraha means destruction. And Stan means point. Point of destruction. So after arguing with him, with Vada, Jalpa, Vitanda, Hetva, Bhasha, and the subdivisions of course, and then Chala, and then Jati, then you bring that man to a point where you are standing with a big hammer. Wang! That's called Nigrahastan. Point of destruction. So these are the 16 padarthas of logic. Of course, it is not limited to 16. But Gautama, he organized these different argument techniques, which are already there in the Vedas. He organized them into the sutras, and he made some distinction like this. 16 padarthas are there. One should know these 16 padarthas. That is called knowledge, according to Gautama. So this is the famous padarthas of the Nyaya. Actually, even to waste time, we could go on explaining each of these, which are under, the subdivisions, etc. We could do it. But we are short of time. Preparation is there. So if anyone is so interested to waste time, or to fully utilize time to defeat others, if you are a real spearhead preacher in the movement, then you engage me in service. Preparations are here. I'm ready. I'm doing no other classes this year festival. I'm available after this class till I go into the mosquito net. Then Nigrahastan. Then point of destruction. Then I go to sleep. So then there are 24 systems of balancing the defects of examples. This is another big part of Nyaya Sutra. When you give an example, sometimes you say, this man is like a lion. Then somebody says, oh, he's got a lot of hair on his head and claws coming out of his fingers. And he goes on forth. So because you said he's like a lion. So these are defects of an example. So when you give an example, you have to be careful. Otherwise, some crooked fellow will use it against you. When long ago in Malaysia, one Christian group, they printed a pamphlet. According to ISKCON books, Krishna is a demon. And they gave their argument. What is the argument? They quoted Prabhupada's translation from Bhagavad Gita. Among the demons, I am Prahlad. And they said, look, Krishna says he is a demon. And this ISKCON is worshipping him. So they are all demons. So leave ISKCON and join us. Seventh-day Adventist. But it didn't work out because the Malaysian Indians, they know this Jalpa Vitanda, they are born of it. So they looked at this pamphlet, they threw it. They said, what is this? They don't understand. Krishna is just giving an example. So while giving example, there may be defects. So Gautama, being very careful because his whole process of self-realization is argument and logic. So if there is defect in it, then the whole logic will just go like old scaffolding around Taj Mahal when they paint it every year. So he just made this big strong scaffolding. What is that? That is known as these 24 systems of balancing the example. Suppose you made an example and you went wrong. You balance it quickly. No. It's not like that. It's like this. It's like this, like that. You can go on like this, hovering over your mental platform. And then there are 22 points of Nigrahasthan. Destruction. There are 22 different points of Nigrahasthan. Srila Prabhupada used more than 60 points of Nigrahasthan in his Prabhupada Speak Out. In the BTG it comes out. 60 different points of Nigrahasthan. For example, just an example. A man who drives car in the race, he's a race sportsman. He came to see Prabhupada. And Prabhupada was discussing with him of every race that happened in Calcutta. And who came first, who came second, who was gold medal, who was silver medal, everything. And then discussing, at one point, Prabhupada asked him, when you drive car very fast, do you get fear? Sometimes you are afraid. He said, no, Swamiji, I'm never afraid. So then Prabhupada said, oh, really? Or then in last year, who got the medal? And he said something. And after 2 minutes, Prabhupada again caught him. He said that sometime when you drive in the corner and your brake fails and you are driving 150 miles, don't you feel afraid? And the man said, yeah, I felt a bit afraid at that time. Then Prabhupada said, what do you do at that time? And he said, I think of God. Prabhupada said, do you know who is God? And he said, I don't know. Prabhupada said, you better know. And after that, there was 1 hour Krishna conscious smash. This is Nigrahasthan, point of destruction. And Prabhupada used, this only 22 mentioned by Gautama, because he is looking at his own feet. But Srila Prabhupada is looking at Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur's feet. So he has used more than 60 different techniques in his arguments. Anyway, short of time. So, this type of things, we should get 4 hours for a class. This is real conjuice. 1 hour, it's already finished. So, now we will come to find out what he actually says. Anyway, I have confused you enough now. Now I am a scholar. So now, what does it do? What is the whole thing about? Come on, Atma Tattva. Would he come out clean? Tell us what it is. Doing all this jugglery. Yes, I'm just coming. 15 minutes only. See, in the Nyaya Sutras, all these categories, 16 padarthas, are very critically examined by himself. He designed the padarthas and he very critically examines them. He opposes them, he establishes them, picks them up, injects them, puts calcium C injection, makes it alive again establishes them, again defeats them, again establishes them. It goes on and on and on and on and on. So this is what's going on in this Nyaya Sutra book. And where there is a little room for doubt, he will not leave it. Unless he goes, finally, you say, all right, I accept. Then he will leave you alone. You will just fold your hands, Arey Baba, chhod do. Theek hai. Just leave me alone. You are right, I am wrong. Then he will accept. Then he will be very happy. So now, what is his philosophy? His philosophy is known as the philosophy of logic that establishes atoms as the source of everything. Now the cat is out of the bag. atom is the source of everything. This is his philosophy. Now we know in the Brahma Sutra that Vyasadeva says, Atato Brahma Jigyasa Janmadyasya Yataha Janmadyasya Yata. From where everything comes? This is the question. And the answer by our friend Gautama is everything comes from atom. That is his conclusion. And he, by mind, not in the laboratory with some test tubes and wires and big gas cylinder. No, just by looking at his feet and concentrating in his mind, he finds out the details of how this world is made. And he bifurcates the world into smaller, and then he comes to this point known as atom, anu. And he finds out that these anus, when they are combined together in two, they are known as dvayanu. And then they are combined together in three, then they are known as triple atom, trayanu. And this trayanu or triple atom, that is like the unit. And many trayanus combined together, that makes this a huge planet of Earth, huge planet of Sun, Moon, everything. So ultimately, everything is atom. That is his theory. And this Gautama very strongly defends Veda. When he comes to this Praman section, he very strongly defends Veda. He said nobody should object Veda. There is no question of knowledge except from Veda. Anything which rejects Veda is ignorance. This way he becomes a very, very good boy at that time. And then he attacks Buddhism, Jainism, all these nonsense philosophies which don't accept Veda. He completely destroys them in his book. Wonderful job he has done with his logic. In the meantime, Vyasadeva says, Pramana Buddhir Vedeshu, that these Nyayis, they establish Veda as the highest Praman, but they don't take Veda as Praman. Because Veda's conclusions they don't want to take. They take the Veda, why? Because they want to be authorized school of thought. So they use Veda. Just like somebody said to me in Calcutta temple, Prabhupada said that Grihasthas can wear underwears. Sorry for bringing this up now. I'm a joker. I mean, you don't expect from me anything nice. So, what is this, Prabhupada? So, you just, because Prabhupada, what Prabhupada said is authorized. So, anything you want, you say, and you say Prabhupada said. So, this is this chalu of this Nyaya school of philosophy. They establish Veda is so great, Veda is so wonderful. And then they say, atom is everything. But the Veda doesn't say atom is everything. Yes, in some study, from one stage to one stage, they say, yes, atom is everything. And beyond atom, they go further. They go into the atom. Andantarasta paramanu chayantarastam govindam adipurusham tamaham bhajami. Paramanu chaya antarastam. Inside the atom, inside the trayanu, inside the dvayanu, there is Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. So it doesn't end in the atom. Atom is actually the end of a whole another story called spiritual world. Then finally it ends in atom because we are envious of Krishna. He gives us this atom. So finally we make an atom bomb and put on our own head. This is why Paramanu is given to us, so we can go to hell. So that is what the Veda says. And theism, or acceptance of God consciousness, is only a theory in Nyaya school. Their God is whenever they want, they can have them. Whenever they don't want, they will dismiss him. This kind of God they have. And there is no description of this God, what is his address, whether he has a passport, visa, he paid the festival fees or not, nobody knows. He's hanging around somewhere. This kind of God. So ultimately, they are H-number Gnostics. They are just atheistic people, that's all. We have nothing to do with them, they have nothing to do with Krishna, we have nothing to do with them again. That's it. Because they don't want God, they don't want Krishna, we don't want them. Anybody who doesn't accept Krishna is a demon. Krishna nahi mane, daitya kori jani. This is Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami's conclusion. He may be worshipping Shalagram and drinking Charanamrit. But still, if he doesn't accept Krishna, he is a Rakshasa. So we don't accept him. That is our scale. This is our judge. What is the scale? The scale is Krishna. Anybody who doesn't accept Krishna, even if he does not have horns on his head, he is a Rakshasa. He is a demon. Maybe he speaks Sanskrit, when he speaks, slokas come out of his ears, and he has a big shikha on the back. He's got a big thread with 15 lines on it, and he speaks telephone with that thread. Doesn't matter. Whatever he is, for us he is simply a demon. So, now, what is his idea of soul? His idea of soul is soul and matter. They are both eternal. They are both real. And the meeting of the soul and the matter is the cause of all miseries. And when the meeting is finished, then they are separated, then everything is blissful. This is their Sambandha Gyan. Their Sambandha Gyan is what? There is soul and matter. So they are Gyanis. Why? They know matter and spirit. So they are Gyanis. But how do they know matter and spirit? Matter is there, spirit is there, they meet with each other, there is trouble. Take the spirit out of matter, no trouble. Finish. That's the highest. And how does it happen? Matter and spirit, how do they come together? So they have to say something. And they don't want to say something too materialistic because they'll be kicked out of the Vedic school. So they say, Paramatma, the super soul, he brings them together. And then when he doesn't want, he separates them. Now why does he do that? Don't be argumentative. The whole school is argumentative. And then he would say, don't argue. Why shouldn't I argue? You are arguing. No, I can argue. You can't argue. I am only arguing that you shouldn't argue. This is my argument. So, then freedom from sansar, or freedom from the repetition of birth and death, is the highest goal of life. This is his prayojan. So there is Sambandha Abhideya Prayojan in every philosophy. His Sambandha is, atom is the source, and Paramatma is without visa. He is on black market. And the soul and matter, they are two, and when they combine, there is misery. When they separate, there is no misery. This is Sambandha, relationship. And Abhideya, what is the process? The process is you go on like this. 16 padarthas, you keep on arguing. This is the process. By this process, you will get knowledge. When you get knowledge, the soul will out of the matter. Finish. Because there will be knowledge. And then when that is happening, then that is the highest goal of life. Why? Because there will be no more birth, no more death. You will simply become argument. That's all. So their process is like this. Now this is the process of bondage. Due to false notions, because Paramatma brings the Atma, soul, together with the body or matter, there comes false notions, false ideas. Due to the false ideas, there is Sankalpa and Vikalpa, means desire and hatred. And due to the desire and hatred, there are various kinds of actions, Satkriya and Asatkriya. That means good actions and bad actions. And because you do good action and bad action, now comes God. What is this God? A kind of stuff called Adrishta is produced. Now what is it? Don't ask me. Write to Gautama himself. He didn't explain it, so I can't explain. It is called Adrishta. Adrishta means in very few minutes now, you will all be Adrishta to me, because there will be no light. It's going to be dark. Adrishta means invisible. So when you do good action and bad action, the reactions of those actions take a big thing, and that is Adrishta, unseen. And because that unseen is there, when you finish one life, it will give you reaction, and you will take another body. Give you reaction, take another body. In this way, this unseen is completely controlling you. And that Adrishta is God. That is God. Many people say in the modern day, well, there is some power. Some power. I don't know what it is. Some power. This is Adrishta. Some power. I don't know. Male, female, I don't know. Some power. Adrishta. So this Adrishta is produced by your actions. And then Adrishta keeps taking you from one body, putting in another body, another body, another body, another body. So Adrishta is a big controller God, and unless you escape from Adrishta, there is no way. Then the pain, as long as you live in the body, there is suffering. This is called bondage. Now let us come to liberation. What is liberation? Now when you are suffering this pain, you happen to meet, you go to Spain. When you are suffering in pain, you go to Spain. And in Spain you meet Gautama. That is where he is, according to Bhavishya Puran. Spanish devotees, be careful. He may even join ISKCON. That is where he is. They say he is somewhere meditating in Spain. I don't know what he's meditating on. But this Spain, when you meet Gautama in Spain, and he will give you a formula for removing pain. Now what is this formula? He will give you these padarthas. And he would say, you go on and 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 on. And you study these padarthas, then you will get the right knowledge about everything in this world. And when you get the right knowledge, all your false notions will be gone. When the false notions are gone, there will be no desire, there will be no hatred. When there is no desire, no hatred, there will be no kriya. There will be nishkriya, neither asat kriya nor sat kriya. You will not perform any activity. But there is no activity, then you escape from God. Adrishta, you disconnected yourself from Adrishta. Now you have become Adrishta for the Adrishta. You will be unseen by the unseen. And once he doesn't see, there is no more problem, no more birth, and no more pain, and no more Spain. Then it's all bliss. And this is called their liberation. This philosophy is known in the philosophical schools as Arambhavada, or the theory of starting or beginning. And starting, when there is a starting, that means there is an end. So everything starts and then finally everything ends, and everything is bliss. Also this is known as Asat Kriyavada, because they describe that because we do these kriyas which are not proper by false notions, then we get into bondage, and by knowing proper knowledge we get released. So it is known as Asat Kriyavada. And the Upanishads, they use so many techniques in explaining the subject matter, and just these two categories which are taken from the Upanishad, when they depend too much on the argument based on the Upanishad, then this school is known as Nyaya. And the philosophical side of it is known as Darshana, and the logical side of it is known as Anvishiki. Anvishiki is a very famous name in Indian terminology of philosophy. Anvishiki means that which does for judging. Finally, it means Nyaya on the top. And there is other rishis who have done great work in this school. One of the rishis is very dear to us. Actually, he is the Shiksha Guru of Freud. You all know Freud, who was a big fraud. So this Freud was only a Shiksha disciple of this great man. He was known as Charvaka, very famous man. This Charvak said, do something, either you rob a bank or you kill a man, get some money, get some ghee and eat. Because you don't know what will happen when you die. So he was also belonging to the same school. And later, Charvaka's philosophy was known as Lokayata philosophy. The followers of Charvaka, they organized themselves into a big group, and they started denying the existence of soul. This was a byproduct of Nyaya philosophy. So Charvak philosophy is a byproduct of Nyaya, and Charvak in turn produced another byproduct known as Lokayatas. Lokayata and Vaibhashika, Srila Prabhupada mentions them in the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Lokayatas and Vaibhashikas, they establish there is no soul. Because Krishna gives that argument to Arjuna. Suppose you are a soul, you shouldn't worry. Suppose you are not a soul, you shouldn't worry. He uses logic there in the second chapter. If some of you may remember, Krishna was telling, if the soul is eternal, you shouldn't worry because you are killing the bodies. And if you are only killing the bodies, you shouldn't worry, it's an old body anyway. Bhishma is too old. So why you bother? Just a bunch of chemicals, finish him up. So why you so bothering? So this argument is used. So Prabhupada says in the purport, it seems that this Lokayata and Vaibhashika philosophy was prevalent at the time when Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita. So this you can read in Bhagavad Gita. Then, Manu Samhita, which is the law book of human beings, it says, if anybody studies Nyaya and takes it as the process of knowledge, he should be excommunicated from the Vedic civilization. Now all of you, I don't want to say. Because you studied Nyaya now. But you studied very good. Don't take this as a process of self-realization. Otherwise, Manu will excommunicate you from the Vedic civilization. Then you may say, well, we don't belong to the civilization anyway. How can I excommunicate? So then we come to Lord Rama. In Ramayana, Lord Ramachandra told Lakshman that those who take to this process of Nyaya as self-realization, they are irreligious and they will never get my mercy. So those among you who think that this Nyaya will be serving as a process of self-realization will get no mercy from Ram. Then some of you may say, well, that is only Ram. But we worship Krishna. One Krishna is equal to 3 Ram. All right, 1 Ram out, other 2 Rams are there. You may say that. But then we come to Krishna. In Mahabharata, Sri Krishna says a story to Arjun about a Brahmin who was studying Nyaya, and he took that as a process of self-realization, and he argued with every devotee. Then, when Krishna looked at him, he became a jackal. Right in front of him, big Brahman with books, and he became a jackal. And he ran away into the forest. So those among you who take this Nyaya as a process of self-realization, I don't want to say. So then Vyasa, finally, who is the conclusion of all conclusion and remover of all confusion, the Srila Vyasadeva, in his Brahma Sutras, in the 2nd canto, 2nd chapter, 17th verse, after defeating Nyaya Vaiseshika, only in 10 verses only, then finally he says, Aparigrahacha atyantam anapeksha tatapi darshanam. This means that because the sages have rejected this Nyaya and Vaiseshika, one should totally reject them. This is Vyasadeva's conclusion. Atyanta nirapeksha. Atyanta means totally reject them. So Srimad Bhagavat Puran also said, Dharma prodida atra kaidavo nirmatsaranam sadam vedyam vastavam atra vastu shivadam tapatrayon moolanam Srimad Bhagavate mahamunikrute kim va parairishvaraha sadyo hridyavarudyate atra kritibi sushrushu diktakshanat kim va parairishvara. What is the use of any other book? In other words, there is no use. So there is no use of this Nyaya Sutras. Because Nyaya is there in the Veda, it comes through the Upanishad, it is there in the Vedanta Sutra, and it is there in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Nyaya is in the Upanishad, it comes through Bhagavad Gita, it is there in Bhagavad Gita. And Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita is a practical example of Srimad Bhagavatam, so Nyaya is there in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. Ultimately, by logic, one wants to find out what one should do. And what one should do is there in Rector of Devotion. What one should do? Krishna Bhakti Korile Sarva Karma Krita Hoy. Kali Yuga Dharma Krishna Nama Sankirtan. So we should chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you very much. Is the, you can say, Upanishad is the crude or the source of Vedanta. Vedanta means end of knowledge. So Upanishad is like the crude oil of Vedanta. And when it is purified and very nicely seen properly, then it is known as Vedanta. So these 6 systems of philosophy, they are nothing but some trial by Gyanis, by mental speculators, to establish a process, a subsidiary process to attain self-realization, not ultimate process. So from the Upanishad comes the 6 systems of philosophy, and Vyasadeva writes the Vedanta Sutra explaining the Upanishads. And he writes Srimad Bhagavatam explaining Vedanta Sutra. And Krishna explains the Upanishads in Gita Upanishad, in Bhagavad Gita. This particular point, if I keep repeating every day in the class, don't mind, because this is actually the whole thing. So, don't get bored. It is nice to hear it many, many times. The whole setup of the Vedic literature. So, when Krishna gives the condensation of Gita in the Upanishad, Vyasadeva brings the explanation through Vedanta Sutra and finally in Srimad Bhagavatam. So you have Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. If you study this, then you have studied everything which is there in the Upanishad without having to undergo the trouble of tooth-breaking Sanskrit grammar. Then you are saved. But then, one may ask, the authenticity of simply studying Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, while in the Vedas, this whole principle, all Vedangas are there, Kalpa, Nirukti, Vyakaran, Chandas, Jyotish. So how you people, you Vaishnavas, you simply read this book and then you just do some dancing sentimentally, then how you will attain self-realization. But Haridas Thakur, Namacharya Haridas Thakur established in the discussion that how that happens. It happens because of the strength of the holy name. Holy name is Krishna. And Krishna can only reveal the absolute truth because he is absolute truth. There is no question of understanding absolute truth by one's mental manner. It is not possible. Absolute truth, unless he descends himself in our consciousness, there is no question of understanding him. And absolute truth means the whole process of understanding absolute truth also included. So there is Sambandha Abhideya Prayojana. And this whole Sambandha Abhideya Prayojana blossoms in one's heart if he simply lives in the association of Krishna in the form of the holy names Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Then one may say, again, but what about living in the forest, performing austerities, and being born in a proper family, having initiated into various rituals, how you will make up for all that? Then our reply is, yes, we make up for all that principles simply by following the 5 principles of devotional service. That is Nam Shravan, Nam Kirtan, and then Sadhu Sangha, association with devotees who chant Hare Krishna, and Shraddhaya Vigraha Sevan. With great faith, we worship the deity of Krishna. Shraddhaya Vigraha Sevan, and Mathuravas, by staying in the temple, by staying in the holy place. Before, the holy place was restricted to only 2-3 places, or maybe 6 to 9 places in India. But Srila Prabhupada's mercy that we have holy places now all over this planet, everywhere. Very soon we are going to have a big holy place built up in Moscow. There will be Sri Radha Krishna temple. So every place has become... originally all these places were holy places. They became unholy later because of the influence of the age of Kali. These deities are simply recovered by ISKCON movement. They are not newly established in these places. These deities are all recovered. They are already there. They are discovered only. It is not that Moscow Ishvara is something coming out of the mental factory of someone. No. There is a Ishvara for Moscow. Why not? If there is Moscow, there must be a Ishvara. If there is London, there must be a Ishvara. For every place, there is a Ishvara. And who is the Ishvara? The Ishvara is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So naturally, all over this planet, all over this universe, there were deities established by Brahma originally. And due to course of time and influence of the age of Kali, people have completely gone far away from this Krishna conscious culture. So Sri Krishna, as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, gives the prediction that once again, that this Krishna conscious culture will be established all over the world. That means Anarpita Charitchirat. Not that just once again means for 5,000 years it was not there, it is re-established. From a long, long period of time, these deities have been covered this Krishna conscious culture has been covered by various influences of the material nature. And Sri Krishna, he himself decides to come as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and rediscover this whole Krishna consciousness movement. And by this, he is enjoying transcendental bliss. So he predicted, Prithvidyachya Jata Nagaradi Gram Sarvatra Prachar Hoibe Moranam. Then he sends his special general, military commander-in-chief, Srila Prabhupada. He comes and he executes that prediction. And following in the footsteps of Srila Prabhupada, this ISKCON movement will re-establish Krishna conscious culture all over the world for 10,000 years to come. So this is the actual system of philosophy. This is how the whole history goes. This is the history of philosophy. There is also philosophy of history. That is a different story. But this is at least the history of philosophy. So finally, anyone who is sincere, anyone who has got pran, anyone who has got little bit loyalty towards himself will have to chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So from Bhagavad Gita,